Welcome to our second video lesson on dividing decimals with decimal divisors. I've made this video because some of you are struggling with this skill and I want you to have the chance to look at it again. Alright, here is the question. We have 9,895 and 7/10 divided by 2 and 5/10. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we have to move our decimal out of our divisor. So that's kind of like multiplying it by 10. So we move this decimal here and multiply it by 10. Whatever we do inside, whatever we do outside, we also have to do to our dividend, or the number inside our division symbol. So we're going to move our decimal. Make sure you don't confuse it with the comma. This is the comma. We're not moving that. We're going to move the decimal. The decimal's here, and we're going to move it one place to the right. So now our decimal is right here. Now I'm going to rewrite the question. And you know what? When I rewrite it, I'm not going to include this comma sign because it's confusing a lot of you. So let's rewrite it without that comma. Now I've rewritten it, and I've rewritten it with our decimal place moved. So I moved the decimal place right here in our divisor, so now it's over here. And in our dividend, because it was on the end beside the 7, I can write our question without our decimal anymore. If you want to, it's just as correct to put your decimal here. Either is fine. Alright, let's get started. Can 25 go into 9? No, it can't, so we're going to move on to 98. How many times can 25 go into 98? Well, I know that 25 times 3 is 75. So 25 can go into 98 3 times, and 3 times 25 is 75. 8 minus 5 is 3, and 9 minus 7 is 2. Now we have 23. Now we're going to bring down the 9. How many times can 25 go into 239? Well, a handy fact about 25 is that 25 times 4 is 100. 239 is close to 200. So that means that if 25 times 4 is 100, that means that 25 times 8 would be 200. Now 39 is also bigger than 200, so my guess for this is that 25 times 9 would give me the number closest to 239. I'm going to check it. 9 times 5 is 45, and 9 times 2 is 18, plus 4 is 22. So 25 times 9 is 225, which is the right number for this one. So I'm going to write our 9 up here, and then 9 times 25 is 225. Now we're going to do our subtraction. 9 minus 5 is 4, and 3 minus 2 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Now we bring down this 5. Alright, how many times can 25 go into 145? That's 5 times. And I know that 5 times 25 is 125. 5 minus 5 gives me 0, and 4 minus 2 gives me 2. Now we're going to bring down our 7. How many times can 25 go into 207? Well, remember over here I know that 25 times 8 is 200, so it must be 8. 8 times 25 is 200. Now we subtract. 7 is what we have left over. Okay, we still have a number down here, but we've run out of numbers at the top. What are we going to do now? Now we add our decimal place, and make sure we can see it there. There's our decimal place. And we can add a 0 after the decimal place. Then we can bring down that 0. But before we continue, I want to make sure we do this and we don't forget. When we add the decimal here, make sure you bring it up and put it up here at the top, so you don't forget to do it later. Alright, now let's bring down, I'm just going to make this a little smaller here. Let's bring down our 0. How many times can 25 go into 70? 25 goes into 70 twice. 2 times 25 is 50. And 70 minus 50 gives me 20. I'm going to add another 0 because I don't have a 0 down there yet. And now we have 200. And I know that 25 can go into 200 exactly 8 times from before. Oh, 8. So I'm going to write my 8 up here. Sorry, I careful. And 8 times 25 is 200. 200 minus 200 gives me 0. So my answer for this question is 3,958 and 28 hundredths. You don't need to worry about writing the comma. We can just write it like that. And now we're done this one. I'm going to do another example in case you want to watch it again. In this question, we have 2 and 5 tenths divided into 9,048. I'm just going to move this over to the top here. All right. The first thing I need to do is to move my decimal place in my divisor. So I'm going to move this decimal over once to the right, and then we get rid of it out here. Now there's no decimal in my dividend. There's a comma right here, but there's no decimal. So I need to add the decimal at the end here, and then I'm going to move it over to the right, the same as I did before. So now we've moved it one space to the right, and we have a blank space there. When we have the blank space, we put a 0, and then we put our decimal afterwards. So our decimal goes here on the right of the 0. Now I suggest we rewrite the problem without this comma to help us see it again. Now you can see I've rewritten it on the side. All right, I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the 25. How many times can 25 go into 90? Well, it goes in 3 times, and 3 times 25 is 75. Now, 0 minus 5 we can't do, so we're going to borrow from the 9. That 9 becomes an 8, and now we have 10 minus 5, which is 5, and 8 minus 7, which gives us 1. Now we're going to bring down this 4. How many times can 25 go into 154? Well, I know that it goes in 6 times. 6 times 5 gives me 30, if I can read this. 30, and 2 times 6 is 12, plus the 3 gives me 15, so it's 150. 150 more minus 150 gives me the 4, and now I bring down that 8. How many times can 25 go into 48? Well, 25 times 2 is 50, which is bigger than 48, so it must just be once. 1 times 25 is 25. 8 minus 5 is 3, and 4 minus 2 is 2. Now I'm going to bring down our last 0. How many times can 25 go into 230? It can go into 208 times, but then it also has this extra 30, which would fit one more 25 in, so I know it will go in 9 times. And 25 times 9, 9 times 5 is 45, and 9 times 2 is 18, plus 4 is 22. So I'm going to write my 225 down here. Now I have 230 minus 225. 0 minus 5 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from this 3 and make it a 2, and this becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 gives me 10. Sorry, 10 minus 5 gives me 5. Now I'm out of zeros, but I still have a number down here. So I have to do the same thing we did last time. When we run out of zeros, we're going to run out of numbers. We're going to add our decimal point back in there, and then add a 0. We can continue adding zeros because it doesn't change our dividend. We can continue adding zeros until we get no remainder. So now I'm going to bring down this 0. How many times can 25 go into 50? Well, wait. I've forgotten to do something. Hopefully you caught it. I need to move up this decimal right now so that I don't forget to do it later. Let's move this up right here, and we're going to put it right there. Now we don't have to worry about the decimal anymore. All right, let's go back. How many times does 25 go into 50? 25 goes into 50 twice, and 2 times 25 is 50. 50 minus 50 gives me a 0. So that means that I'm done. So the answer to this question is 3,619 and 2 tenths. I hope this helps you. Please, if you're having any problems, take the time to go back and rewatch any part of the video. I'll talk to you later.